Today is Saturday, February 15th. It's still the weekend of love with Valentine's Day just yesterday, so we want to check in on the state of dating and relationships in 2025. From online trends like dating apps and AI to how people are meeting and ghosting offline, and even advice for keeping love alive long-term. Celebrity dating coach Damona Hoffman joins us again this year to break down the latest in love. She's a certified dating coach, host of the Dates and Mates podcast, and author of F the Fairy Tale, which debunks some of the most common dating myths holding people back. You may have also seen her on The Drew Barrymore Show and other national media sharing her expertise. She starts us off today with the role of tech and politics in dating these days. Welcome to the Newsworthy Special Edition Saturday, when we sit down with a different expert or celebrity every Saturday to talk about something in the news. Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for our regular episodes, where we provide all the day's news in 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. It's now time for today's Special Edition Saturday. Damona Hoffman, thank you for joining us here on the Newsworthy.
Thanks for having me back.
My first question is all about dating apps. Are they still where people are going, and what trends are you seeing with those?
People are really burnt out on dating apps. It's really at an all-time high as we're seeing rates of ghosting, rates of scamming. There's just an overall dissatisfaction with dating, which I think is coming more from people being frustrated by lack of connection overall in our lives. So the reality is they are still the biggest game in town, but they're a little bit less of a game than they were, say, a year ago. They are not gaining users at the speed that they were during the height of the pandemic. There's also a difference happening between the major dating apps, the household names that you and I both know well, and the niche dating apps. Many of the niche dating apps and the more curated experiences are picking up steam. So people are wanting to be on an app where it feels like there's a little bit of a bar to clear.
Tell me more about ghosting. You're seeing a lot of that right now?
I have been seeing a rise in ghosting starting a couple of years ago. And I think the reason for this is that the speed of dating increased dramatically in the last few years. Now what's happening is that people are taking a social media approach to online dating. It's become a popularity contest. How many likes can I get? And that is really not the question that we should be answering at all, because you can get a lot of likes, but our brains are really not conditioned to have that many threads of communication going. So what happens is that people match and then they get stuck in these DMs on the dating apps, what I call the texting trap in my book, and they're messaging back and forth, trying to vet one another. And great options that may have otherwise made the cut a few years ago are getting either weeded out or just simply forgotten.
Do you think online culture has also contributed to making it difficult to tell someone the truth, that we just rather hide behind the screen and the keyboard?
Oh, yes. Everyone's a keyboard warrior now to some extent, because we don't have to have in-person communication to get to some point of intimacy with someone. So a lot of people now are using digital tools even to have conversations for them. I just discovered in a recent survey that 1 in 4 people would consider using AI to write a breakup letter or text. And that was shocking to me. That stat came from the brand Who Gives a Crap. I give a crap. It turns out that's not a great way to break up with someone. Most people say they want a face-to-face breakup. And yet, as AI and as all of these digital tools have crept into our lives and made things more efficient, we crave efficiency, but it's sort of in conflict with also craving intimacy.
How is AI and other tech impacting the dating world, whether it's on apps or elsewhere?
We are seeing AI creep into everything from creating your dating profile. One of the major dating apps, Hinge, they just released a new feature that uses AI to tell you when you need to update a profile prompt. Maybe you haven't said enough. On the surface, I would say people are becoming lazy on dating apps, but it's really more about this burnout that we were talking about, that you feel like, I don't want to put in all of this effort if I'm only going to end up being disappointed at the end. So people are looking for shortcuts. We're also seeing people using AI chatbots and large language models to find the right words to say to their potential dates. Last year, there was a story of a man who went all the way from match to engagement using his AI chatbot to woo his bride.
Oh, no.
And yeah, I'm on both sides of this where it is an oh no, but at the same time, it did get them to the point where they're getting married. So it's a double-edged sword.
But they saw each other in person before they got engaged or
Yes.
not? Okay.
Yes.
I thought you were saying through the AI.
No, he actually used an AI chatbot to get from that match to the actual date. So I'm of two minds about this because I think in one way, I want to shortcut all of the parts of dating that are making us frustrated, that are making people feel burnout. So I'm in favor of using tools that will shortcut that process, but I'm not really in favor of using tools to deceive someone else or become someone who we're not.
And so is AI making people more distrustful of who they're talking to?
People are very suspicious of all of the messages that they get online now. They are very aware of AI and they're starting to become more distrustful of any message that they get online. And they're scanning messages with the assumption that it may be written by AI.
I am curious how social media and influencer culture has impacted relationships or Valentine's Day expectations.
Oh, wow. Everyone is just influenced by that. We're doing it for the gram, Erica.
Still?
We're still doing it for the gram. And we really are influenced by the images we see. And so if we are following people who have the perfect relationship on paper or, in the pictures that they post, we start to look at our own partners and think, well, why doesn't our relationship look like that? And we have to remind ourselves that everything that we see on social media it's a snapshot of the best version that people are putting forward. And it's not something that we should be judging our own relationships against. And if that is hard for you, what I tell my clients and listeners to do is to curate the images that they're taking in, the things they're watching. So if you're looking at somebody else's perfect relationship makes you feel bad when you're single, you can unsubscribe. You don't have to follow that person because it really will impact the way that you move forward in dating and relationships yourself.
So we've talked in the past that politics now plays a big role in dating. So is that still true today? And how are things looking post-election now?
Oh, boy. People are more polarized than ever. I don't have to tell you that, Erica. You've talked about it quite a lot on this podcast, but it really shows up in dating because people are using political affiliation as a proxy for a whole set of values. And to some extent, there's truth in that. But on the other side, there are a lot of assumptions being made. And this actually all comes back to my original thesis about dating burnout. There's so much work that goes into dating right now that people are looking for any shortcut. So if your political affiliation or who you voted with can be a filter that makes it so that I don't have to answer these other 10 values-based questions, that makes the process a lot easier. But what it's doing is it's really driving a wedge between people. We used to see 10 or 15 years ago, we could see people from different sides of the political spectrum in a relationship, but we're seeing that less and less. I would actually probably say hardly at all.
Still ahead, why more people are looking for offline connections and how they're doing it, and how to keep a relationship alive long-term. Plus, some modern ways to celebrate Valentine's Day that aren't just a dinner date. That's coming up. But first, a quick break for our sponsors. Even before I think about clothes or makeup for a date or even a work meeting, when I want to look and feel good, I grab my Lumi deodorant first. In fact, it's part of my everyday routine because it keeps me feeling and smelling fresh and showing up as my best self. Lumi has something for everyone too. Aluminum-free or sweat control deodorant, solid stick or spray for hard-to-reach places, not to mention the convenient deodorant wipes and body wash. And I feel good knowing that all products are paraben and baking soda free and pH balanced. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine that 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, well, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. So use code NEWSWORTHY for 15% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code NEWSWORTHY at LumiDeodorant.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Lumi. The Newsworthy is also brought to you by Bombas. For many of you, it's officially too cold to do much of anything. The upside, cocoon yourself and get cozy with Bombas socks, slippers, and more all winter long. I've actually been eyeing their slippers because they just look so warm and comfortable. And I already have so many different styles of Bombas socks that I adore. In fact, I just packed a cozy pair and an athletic pair for an upcoming trip to the mountains. And I love my gripper Bombas socks for Pilates and bar classes, or just not slipping on hardwood floors. I also have a variety of styles in no-show socks, ankle socks, and half-calf. I can confidently say I love them all, as in the best socks I've ever owned. I already know Bombas pays attention to all the details that matter: the fabric, the fit, the function, and they just ensure things like no annoying toe seam. Plus, for every item you purchase, Bombas will donate another item to someone facing homelessness. How amazing is that? They've already donated 150 million items. Oh, and they have a happiness guarantee, too, which means free exchanges and returns if needed. Unlikely needed, though. But just in case, you're covered. So try Bombas now. Head over to bombas.com/newsworthy and use the code newsworthy for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/newsworthy. Code newsworthy at checkout. Now back to our conversation. So, do you recommend people focus on meeting offline as well? And if so, what are some ways to go about that?
While I'm still bullish on dating apps, and I have been since we started having our regular Valentine's week talks, I do encourage people to not put all of their eggs in one basket, whether it's an online dating basket or an offline dating basket. So I've been encouraging my clients to try out some of these new activities that have been popping up, like there's a pitch your friend activity where your friend does a PowerPoint for you and they present you to a room full of singles. There are running clubs that are now becoming the de facto dating apps. There are all sorts of creative singles events that have been popping up. And I'm really encouraging daters to use all of the tools available to them, because human connection, it's really one of our primary drivers. We are always going to need relationships. And I hate that it's become so cumbersome and so overwhelming for people. So if offline events simplifies your dating life, use it. If AI simplifies your dating life and that leads to connection for you, I say use it. But the bottom line is what everyone wants is authenticity and real, true connection.
Whether someone's dating or in a long-term relationship, are people still prioritizing those traditional Valentine's Day dates, or are there alternative ways to acknowledge the holiday? Are people celebrating the holiday?
People will always celebrate Valentine's Day. However, the other thing that we haven't talked about is what's happening in the economy. And a lot of people are feeling the pinch of inflation and are looking for alternative dates to do on Valentine's Day. And this is why I tell everybody, you don't want to just wait for February 14th to show your love to your partner. You do need to prioritize your relationship every week. I recommend having a time that you set aside one day a week, even if it's just an hour while the baby is sleeping in the other room. Prioritize that time for you and your partner to stay connected. And then Valentine's Day doesn't become such a deal, but you can still celebrate Valentine's Day, even if it's not on that actual day that Hallmark has circled on the calendar. You can time shift your Valentine's Day. You can do something non-traditional that doesn't cost as much money, and you can still celebrate love in all forms on any day of the year.
Any last minute ideas for a Valentine's Day activity, even though technically we're past the holiday, but maybe for tonight or on Sunday?
Okay, so my husband and I are actually celebrating Valentine's Day on Sunday because love is my business. I'm always super busy on Valentine's Day, so we rarely celebrate on the actual day. We're doing a scavenger hunt. There's a company that sets up these scavenger hunt picnics, and it takes us through the streets of, we're going to celebrate in San Diego, and it's an experience that we're having together. Yes, there will be a meal at the end. Everybody loves food, but it's really more about creating memories for the future.
I love that. Final advice for either singles or those in relationships, or just a final thought as we wrap up Valentine's Day weekend?
Remember to celebrate love in all forms. I have my clients do a gratitude journal. That's one of the first things that we do when we start working together, because sometimes when we're in that period of looking outside, of feeling like we're lacking something, we forget that we have abundance in our lives. We have love all around us. Start with that, and then you can build on and expand. Your heart will expand. Your life can expand from that point.
And it's not just romantic relationships that you can celebrate this weekend.
Of course. I got Valentines for my kiddos. My daughter wanted to get a Valentine for our dog. There's love all around us if we choose to take a look at it.
Well, thank you, Damona Hoffman, for sharing your insights with us. Be sure to check out her podcast, Dates and Mates, and grab her best-selling book, F the Fairy Tale, for more dating and relationship advice. And thank you so much for listening. We will not have a Daily News Roundup episode on Monday due to the federal holiday, President's Day, but we'll get you all caught up on the news you need to know from the long weekend on Tuesday. So join us again next week. Until then, have a great rest of your Valentine's Day and President's Day weekend.